Okay, I guess we are live. Like, I'm using this new software, so I'm just leaning on that, and it says I'm live, so I guess I'm live. Okay, I think we'll just dive right into it today. Yesterday we were... oh, what's this thing? What is this thing? I don't want you to be there. Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, yesterday we were playing around with a new component. We had this Weekday Picker. Let's move to it. There it is. And we were struggling with this thing where the browser by default, I guess maybe it depends on like your language or something, I don't know, or if it's the same for everyone, where Sunday is indexed 0 as the first day of the week, but at least here in Norway we consider Monday the first day of the week. So I wanted to have like a mapping so that I could like say this is the first day of the week, and it would just figure it out without having any conditionals. It should just be like a mapping, and I just couldn't get my head around it. And I actually got some comments on this, so we're going to look at that. But right after the stream, as I mentioned, I went down, I took a glass of water, I went back up, and I wrote this code. So this is what this is what was brewing in my head. So what I really wanted was to have this simple mapping where I say these are the weekdays. So the array itself is the weekdays. And then I want to say which browser index is to be considered on each day. So what this means is that I am able to pass in an array to this weekday component where I can just say these are the days. So I can like even start the day on Wednesday or whatever. And what's missing here is, well, I can get back to that. We are going to look at a different approach, which is really interesting. But yeah, this is how it's working now, and it seems to be working just fine. The only thing is that I should also do this. So we have Sunday, so now it will should look quite weird. But if I go down here, and we will rather use the... Let's see, how will this be? It will be, I think it will be something like this. So we are not going to map over the weekdays, we're going to map over the weekday mapping. And what we get here is the weekday index. And then we're going to use that weekday index to find the right day. So weekdays, like this. Yeah, and we're back. So in theory now, if I were to change, I wanted to start on Tuesday, I could do something like this. Yeah. That's kind of cool. Like, this is completely over engineering, but it's like an interesting concept. So I'm using this array as like the possibility to pass in this array. So, so we can say like mapping or something, weekday mapping. This is also a numbered array. And then we can say weekday mapping, and then we'll rather say equals this. Well, we should move back to this one. Well, I guess this actually should be an array of number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And active weekdays, well, okay, let's just say number there. Oh, let's remove this. Is it complaining? What are you complaining about? Weekday. Oh, sorry. Weekday mapping. Cool. Yes. So the other approach to this, there is this thing called modulus in well, I guess in general in programming, and I've been using that for. Let me show you an example. So when I create for loops, this is especially related to performance, or if I want to manage something asynchronously. What I do is that I create like something like this, some number, and then I check if x modulus, for example, 100, and if that equals 0, well, I often check if x is more than 0 and the modulus of 1. I don't know how you express it really. Like I'm not no math person, so I'm not really good at expressing these kinds of things. But yeah, the point is, by doing this, if we have some number that is more than 100, when it hits 100, then this piece of code triggers. And then if it hits 200, this piece of code triggers. So the way I think about this is that whenever this number hits, like, yeah, how do I express that? You understand what I mean? I'm just trying to find the words. Like, how would you express this in a sentence that makes like, which is like human speech, not like a computer way of expressing it. But for every 100th of x, that's what this expresses. Do this thing. So the comment was, you could also use this to create like, what was it called? A wrapper? Wrapping? Oh, I should check the comment. But anyways, we could also use this technique for what we're doing here. So if I remember this correctly, we could say like, so we have our weekday. So how should we do this? So we could say like, we can have current weekday index. Maybe we can just log it. Day, and then we could say current day index +1 modulus 7. Let's console log that. Let's see what happens. And now it says 4, which means that if we were to have 0, 1, 2, 3, it's Wednesday, so that's 3. The point is that whenever it hits, oh, is it 7 or is it 6? Does that matter? No, of course not. Yeah, so the point is that we could like say that whenever you hit the last index, it should start at 0. So I think this would work in terms of, but should it be +1? Because I think this is more, so 0, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. And then if we were to hit, no, how would this work? So 0, it would be 0. Yeah, I'll have to read the comment. Anyways, the point for me is that this is just too mind-bending. For me, it's more straightforward to think about it this way. It's like more explicit that you have the weekdays and then you have the weekday mapping. While this modulus thing probably works, like I can't even express it now, so it's just too mind-bending for me. But I'm sure it's a really good technique to ensure like you have a range, and then whenever you hit the end of that range, it starts at the beginning. I think that's a good way to explain it. So you have a range. This is the range 7. Whenever this number hits that range, it starts at the beginning. and then the number can increase further, and then it hits the range again, and then it starts from the beginning, no matter how big this number is. So I guess we could put that into this context, but yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. But where I found most benefit using this is, as I showed you, when iterating, and you want to do something on every 100th or whatever. Cool. Yeah, like this is kind of like my experience programming. I'm kind of self-taught. I haven't gone to school. I haven't taken these computer science subjects and stuff. And when it comes to math, I have this weird, like I always kid around with my friends talking about, like in Norwegian, you don't say divide by, you say split by. So for example, if you have an apple and you split that by 2, that's what we say in Norwegian, split by 2. Or split 2 times, kind of. It's kind of hard to translate, but we don't say divide, we kind of say split. So what that would, the way I think about that is, how many times do you split it? So I would say if you want 2 pieces of the apple, you would split it once. You wouldn't split it twice, if that makes sense. And that's kind of the thing with me. It's the words that, I don't know, I think about, I interpret the words differently or in the wrong way, which makes me not understand like how, so I don't know how to explain this. In terms of math, it's not the math itself that's the problem, it's the terms. I can't get past the terms because I have my own interpretation of the terms. And then I try to create my own terms to kind of understand it better, and it might not be the right way to think about it. So it's really, really interesting. I'm really fascinated by people who can talk about math as if there's like, it's just their own language. Everything just makes sense to them. No matter what terms you throw at them, it's like, oh yeah, it's like that, it's like that. But for me, it's not like that at all. It has to have some practical meaning. I have to think about it practically. So like sitting at school, the teacher up on the blackboard, just showing theoretical stuff, it doesn't stick with me at all. Which is why I really love coding, because it allows me to practically think about a problem and then explore how to solve that problem with code. And I have no idea how to do it in terms of math, but I can play around with it, and then I can figure out how to do it. And then name things and organize the code in a practical way, instead of using these, for me, very difficult terms. So I guess this is a good example of that. For me, modulus, it's a term. It's too mind-bending. It's an effective approach to handle scenarios, but for me, it's not practical. While what I'm doing here, for me, this is more practical. But other people feel differently, so it's kind of, I guess this is kind of the difficult thing about coding. We have different approaches to how we think about code, how we write code, how we interpret code, that's what coding is all about. It's about communicating your intention with other developers. So it's difficult. Anyways, I'm going way off here. We should continue with our application. So let's just go ahead with this default weekday mapping. And what I thought is that in terms of users here, you can connect users together in this app. So you have like a family. So what I thought is that you could configure the family with this weekday mapping. So the owner of the family, or the person who sets up the family, is able to change this weekday mapping. We can store that in the database, and then it can be changed out. And it doesn't mean that they should be able to choose whatever weekday they want as the first day. Maybe they should, or we can have like presets. So like start on Monday or start on Tuesday or on Sunday. Okay, but now we have the flexibility at least. Cool. So what are we going to do now? I guess we can do a little bit more styling here. So we have like a border. Like this doesn't look, how did it look in the app? That looked kind of nice. Let's see. Week planner. Let's see here. Weekday planner. Oh, I see my face is up here today. Maybe I could put it down there. Cool. Yeah, so as you can see, if you can see it, we have like this spacing between. We have some rounded corners. That's nice. That's nice. So maybe we can do that. So should probably have a border, but let's put some spacing between them. So let's have like some kind of margin thing here. I guess that's a good way to do it. Shouldn't this refresh? Thought that should refresh. Hey, why aren't we getting any margin here? Weekday. Oh, because I think this, yeah, we were actually doing something in Code Sandbox yesterday, and I think that had the same problem. We were trying to change the margin, but it didn't work for some reason. And I tried to figure out what the issue was this morning, but I couldn't reproduce it. So yeah, so okay, so I'm using 0. Oh, maybe it's a check. Oh no, sorry, we actually have 0. Sorry, I thought it was one rem. So it's all good. Yeah, I don't know what that issue was yesterday. Cool. We have a border radius. And I think that's one of the tokens. But it's called something else. Is it radi? So we can say, I guess like 2 pixels or something. Well, I guess this can be, we can do like 0 here. And then 1 is like 2 pixels, and maybe we can have one for 3 pixels. I did think about actually using, oh, we can have a bit more. Nice. Think about using Tailwind for this. Maybe we could try that. Because there's a Tailwind package for stitches where you actually get the same class names, only in like object syntax. So let's introduce some padding here. So let's try this sweet array version where we say, I don't know, 2, 1, 2. Oh, I thought this was horizontal. Okay, so 1, 2, 1. Cool. And I guess we should like have some spacing so that it kind of, there's going to be an avatar in front of this, but I wonder, so the Weekday Picker, yeah, returns just the buttons in a fragment, which means that if we were to have, oh yeah, by the way, oh sorry, I forgot to tell you. I just returned this from the component and it gave me an error. And I thought it was a stitches error, but it's because I wasn't using a React fragment. So if you want to return an array of elements, use a React fragment. Yes, and we are saying that these things are necessary. So this is not necessary. Active weekdays and on change. Okay, so let's add these. Active weekdays. Let's just have an empty array, and then we have our on change. Cool. So what we want to do, because we want like this avatar thingy in front, which has the user initials. And then we want the buttons next to it. So we could wrap this like in a flex thingy, I guess. And then we just spread them out. So maybe we don't even need this margin thing. Maybe we can just use, just spread them. Yeah, let's try that. So we need a new element here. We can call it user weekdays, for example. And we should flex this thing. Oh, sorry, we should display flex. And what's it called? Justify content. Is that the name for it? Justify content. Is this space around, space between, space between? Okay, let's try this, see what happens. User weekdays. Oh, there we go. Maybe it looks a little bit weird on a big screen, but yeah, and on a small screen it's too big, but maybe we can do something smart here. Cool. I guess what we can do now is introduce like a new UI component, or maybe we should kind of finish this first. So we can do oh, sorry, we did this. On click, it triggers on change. Well, we don't have active weekdays. So we can say, did we have a variant? Yeah, active. So we can say variant active weekdays includes, yeah, the question now is what should, oh yeah. So with our flexible, with our flexible way of doing things, we have to store yeah, I guess we actually have to pass in the like the browser weekday. Yeah, how do we know which day? Like, what do we say? Based on the weekday mapping, we want to say which day is active. And I think we store this by, not by like index, we store it by actual date. Yeah. Actual date. So it will need to translate that date into an index anyways, and then it should just take into account this stuff, I guess. Ooh, this like this is such a good example of a user experience where stuff just works, and it's just some buttons for a week. And then you have all this tiny complexity that takes like, it takes like a day to make this work. At least when you try to like consider the absolutely best possible approach, figuring out how much responsibility should be inside the Weekday Picker, how much should be outside of it. It's no easy thing, but we can try to say that whatever index is passed in here, it's the index of what the browser thinks. Maybe we should search for this. Browser weekday index. I wonder if it's the same all around the world. Denim. Oh, get day. According to local time. Yeah, according where 0 represents Sunday. So yeah, there's no mention here that this will be different in some configuration in the browser. So I guess we can it's safe to say that whatever we pass in here it's based on this Sunday being the 0 index. So we can then say if that includes the weekday index, and then it can be active. Boop. I think this should work. I did type so that you actually can use true or false here, so it should actually allow this. Or maybe I need to update the version. Let's try that. Style, yeah, actually have a major new version here. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, bum. Let's see, I'm just going to try to refresh here to see if the, yeah, because our, oh no, there it is, restart TS server. Yeah, that's strange. It doesn't allow type false, it's not the same active or undefined. I did type it with, let me just check that quickly. Because I did say that, this is fun, right? The typing for, this is the typing for variants. It's crazy. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. Yeah, so, oh, this is the screens. Oh, didn't I do it for, oh, yeah, here's the problem. Okay, I'll fix that. I'll fix that. I'll fix that. Okay, let's just keep that for now, and I'm going to fix that bug. It's just a small thing. So if we go in here now and we say that, okay, what's active is like 4 Thursday. Awesome. That's nice. So this is working. This is working. And I guess now I could say, yeah, like 0 as well, which you can't really do. So maybe this is a bit too flexible, like over engineering again. Maybe it's a little bit too flexible, but let's keep it like this for now. And let's rather, do we have time for this? Actually, I think we should just conclude now. I have to go to the city to do some stuff. So I don't start stressing with that. Okay. Okay, so I think this is, at least for me, doing this tiny little thing, looking at how complex you can make it, or actually how complex it really is in its like internal nature. Like for the user, it looks super simple, and that's often the thing as a developer. You create this super simple user experience, but there's lots of consideration and complexity underneath. And it's not just the implementation, it's the responsibility. That's all, very often where the biggest problems are. Because if you just brute force it, you tend to you have a feature that has some scoped responsibility. And then you create a file, and then you just shove all the responsibility into that file just to brute force it. And that works. But then later you want to do something else related to this, and then there's too much responsibility inside this file or component or whatever abstraction you use. And then you kind of have to refactor it. And then again, as we talked about last time, it was brute forced. You don't dare to touch the code because you don't understand how it deals with this stuff. And then you get into problems. But yeah, for me, this looks good. And next time we'll add a new component for the avatar thingy, like with the initials. So what we're going to do there, I suppose, is that we're going to create a derived state value, which takes the name of the user from the profile and creates initials for it, so that we can use that inside our avatar component. And you could say maybe that should be the responsibility of the avatar component, that you just pass in the name and the avatar component is what actually finds the initials. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we can think about that and see how we'll handle that. And when we got that in place, it's time to find like a calendar component so we can get that working. And then we should be able to actually add new backlog items. And we are ready to move on with some more interesting stuff on the front page. Cool. Yes. Maybe, yeah, before we move back to the homepage, let's see how we actually store these changes in our state store so that we pass in the correct data to the server. Cool. I guess that's it for now. Thanks for following along. I'll talk to you tomorrow morning. And yeah, it's nice to get some more progress on the app itself. Okay, bye-bye.